Good evening. This is Tom Mariano, Executive Director, and I'm here to present our Smart Schools Bond Act Investment Plan number 1. So tonight I'm going to describe the New York State Smart Schools Bond Act to you and our eligibility for the program, describe the process by which we can apply for and access these funds, and present a draft of our first Smart Schools Investment Plan and a timeline for public comment and final approval. First of all, the Smart Schools Bond Act was approved in November 2014 across the state to improve educational technology and infrastructure to improve learning and opportunity for students. And our district is eligible for $7.9 million. To access this, we must first file an annual instructional technology plan, which we have been doing, and now a separate investment plan that aligns to the instructional technology plan. This process isn't a reimbursement program, so we have to time it such that the district supports this money first and then receives it later. So the projects that can be done under Smart Schools Bond Act include high-speed broadband, learning technology hardware such as classroom devices, instructional space for pre-K or to replace trailers, or high-speed school safety and security hardware. For this first plan, we are writing it to solely enhance high-speed wireless connectivity. And the reason we're doing that is it is the first thing that will fully support our GREASE instructional technology vision, and that is to help students personalize their learning using technology, to connect teachers and students beyond the classroom, and to allow students to create useful high product information as opposed to simply consuming digital information. So having a singular focus for our first investment plan is to support having a 3-year rollout that begins next fall to providing a single device to each student. And it also allows us to be prepared for the computer-based testing in grades 3 through 8 that officially began in 2019. So our current wireless network was created in 2006, and it originally had the capacity to serve only 1,500 devices at one time. If you think back to 10 years ago, there were relatively few mobile devices. Now, as you can easily envision, almost every person has at least one mobile device, sometimes more. So we need to build the capacity to serve every student and staff simultaneously. So we have already begun this work. Using our federal E-rate funds and our own facilities team, we've been able to fund wiring and work to install enhancements in wiring and additional switches and controllers, which are the hardware behind the scenes that manage the Wi-Fi traffic, and have a plan in place to complete all the elementary schools and also Olympia. That brings us to the point where we need additional funding to upgrade our larger multi-floor campuses, namely Odyssey, Arcadia campus, and Athena campus. So here is the first spending plan, only $1.5 million of the total $7.9. And you can see here that it has Wi-Fi wiring enhancement and hardware, including access points, switches, switch modules, and controllers. This would complete the hardware and the installation of an up-to-date Wi-Fi system in all of our buildings that would allow every student and every teacher to have simultaneously access to our Wi-Fi network. So in the development of a Smart Schools investment plan, you must involve parents, teachers, students, community members, and non-public schools when the plan involves classroom technology, because there is a provision for them to receive a portion. The non-public doesn't apply to this particular plan because we are not proposing spending any of these funds at this moment on the classroom devices, as I'll further explain. For community input, we've had input in our committees up to this point to get us where we are, but it'll continue after tonight, and that is when this draft plan is approved by the board, we will post it on our website with an email address, and we'll all to receive comments, and we'll also have a public hearing on January 24th, 2017. Here's the timeline. Tonight is the 13th. You're looking at approving a draft plan that has been part of stakeholder consultation already. But then the plan is posted on our website until January 13th, which is the 30 days required by the state. And then we have a chance to revise the plan based on community feedback and have a public hearing on the 24th of January. And then finally on Valentine's Day, we're going to ask you to approve the final plan, the product of this input. So this plan meets the timing and the requirements put out by New York State. One of the requirements we have to demonstrate is that we have the connection speed with our connection to our BOCES internet provider, which we do. And we must prove that this plan is consistent with the technology plans that we have been filing with the state, and in this case, to support one-to-one devices and online testing. A question may arise as to why wouldn't we spend more of that $7.9 million at this time? And there's several reasons right here. One is that we are phasing in one-to-one student devices, and before that can happen, you need both infrastructure and professional development for teachers. And schools right now are in the process of developing what their 3-year phase-in is going to look like for providing devices to each student. And staggering your investment it protects sustainability. You can't buy all new toys 1 year without a plan for how you can repair and replace them over future years. And as you know, number 4, technology assets age quickly. We should only buy what we're ready to use. And we know that we foresee some needs coming up. One is that we know our smart boards that we've had across the district, some of them are coming of age, and this is a very large expense to replace. So this would be a funding source to consider for that. There's no expiration to these funds, so they can provide a safety net for unforeseen other large upgrades that are needed. And one might be that Wi-Fi standards continue to improve. And lastly, this is a reimbursement process, so we need to carefully time out how much we can spend at one time with the reimbursement process to avoid excessive impact on district cash flow. So some of our tentative plans for the next couple investment plans would include one-to-one mobile devices, storage stations, classroom projection devices, maker spaces, which are inventing spaces that you are finding across the country in libraries, which allow students to explore and invent using technology. Connectivity projects within the Greece community, which could include providing Wi-Fi for our students in other areas. So for instance, the possibility of connecting in on a community center or an apartment, part of an apartment shared community space, for instance. We also want to make sure we're looking at our campus security enhancements, which might be eligible. We've completed many recently, but there's probably always something we should be looking at there. And as mentioned before, unforeseen infrastructure needs. So again, here's the timeline that we're bringing forward to you. So tonight, the 13th, asking you to approve the preliminary plan, and it'll be posted on our website till January 13th, a public hearing on January 24th, and asking for your final approval on February 14th. So at this point, I'm going to open the floor up to any questions or comments you may have about this first plan.